So this one's going to be again about Peter Drucker and the effective executive. It's going to be amazing. We're going to go ahead with the 5 principles and we're going to go more in depth with the principles. So especially I think we're going to go through the first one today. And this is probably going to be it for today, because I want to take my time and I truly want to discuss what these principles say, what they could mean if there's something that I do not understand, and all those things. But yeah, there's going to be more after the intro, as always. And I'm pumped for this episode. I am quite most often pumped when I've slept quite, enough, let's say. And also after school. I often feel like after school that I'm really feeling like recording. Really, okay, I've been just doing something the whole day long that's been pretty cool and I'm in a really good mood, which is most often the case when I've been in school, which is amazing, by the way. But yeah, when I haven't slept that much, then I feel like, well, it's not a good day for recording. And also then I feel like and see that my performance isn't that well as well, or is actually not that well as well. Well, yeah, anyway, before I want to go through the episode, there's a few things that I want to cover. It is a podcast, which means that you can also listen to it, which means that it is just a really good way to be a little tiny bit more productive. On the other hand, there's also the YouTube videos. So if you're on the podcast already and you feel like actually listen to him or just listen to him while actually seeing what the fuck he's talking about because there's the text, then please check out the YouTube video. Then there's going to be the notes, which is basically a summary of everything that I'm going through. And it is a PDF and you can download it and you can do whatever with it. And the last one is music. If you want to have some background music, please check out the link in the description. Yes, that's quite it. Let's actually get through the thing. Or let's talk about the thing. Let's talk about this amazing. Here I am. 2 times. Hello. Probably not going to cut that out because I'm probably going to forget about that. But as you can see today, I haven't been going through the whole one, or I haven't been gone through what I'm going to talk about today just because of time reasons. But anyway, let's just get through this. Know the time. So that's basically, I think, a spelling mistake there, or a typing mistake, more or less. Most discussions of the executive's task start with the advice to plan one's work. This sounds eminently plausible. The only thing wrong with it is that it rarely works. The plans always remain on paper, always remaining good intentions. They seldom turn into achievement, which is not that of a good thing. But we all know that. We thought, I'm going to do this in this way and I'm going to do this in that way in terms of this is going to be done today. The next thing is going to be done tomorrow. But most often we feel or see that it turns out to be not that easy. That some things just take more time than we have expected them to take. And some things are just way quicker than they should be, maybe. Effective executives, in my observation, do not start with their task. They start with their time. And they do not start out with planning. They start by finding out where their time actually goes. Then they attempt to manage their time and to cut back unproductive demands on their time. Finally, they consolidate their discretionary time into the largest possible continuing units, which I think just makes sense. And this just leads me to batching, which I think is something that I've also been talking about throughout or because of this article or of this book, I guess. Basically what batching is that you're going to have 3 hours of emails, 4 hours of video recording, 7 hours of writing, for example. So you're not going to be like, okay, I'm going to do 10 minutes of this, 10 minutes of that, 3 minutes of this, and 3 minutes of that. You're not going to just really change up the things because this seems to be the case this seems to be the thing that's drowning your productivity. And this is also something that's draining your energy as well. In terms of if you just always switch between tasks, this is way more, I do want to say dangerous, but it's not dangerous. It's way more energy consumptioning than just sticking with one task for a dedicated amount of hours. For example, what Tim Ferriss is doing, which is just truly an experimental guy. So he definitely experimented with a lot of things, and he also, I think, figured out a lot of things just because of him trying out a lot of things and him trying out whether this is the quote-unquote right thing to do or the right approach for something. But he, for example, is batching things for different days. He's not like, okay, I'm going to do this for 3 hours today afterwards I'm going to do that for 5 hours. No, he's doing email days, recording days, meeting people days, and so on and so on and so on. So it is just, probably way more effective and also efficient to some degree as well. And I think it also just makes sense. Let's highlight it because it is important. People, the third limiting resource one can hire, though one can rarely hire enough good people, but one cannot rent, hire, buy, or otherwise obtain more time. What is it about just, okay, I'm gonna employ more people and therefore save a lot of time, which is probably the case. People, which is the third limiting resource, one can hire, though one can rarely hire enough good people, but one cannot rent, hire, buy, or otherwise obtain more time. Yeah. Does this just mean, okay, have more people to save more time? Is this what he says? Not quite sure. To be effective, every knowledge worker and especially every executive therefore needs to be able to dispose of time in fairly large chunks. To have small drips and drops of time at his disposal will not be sufficient, even if the total is an impressive number of hours. Which is, I think, all about rest now, isn't it? To have small drips and drops of time at his disposal. What is disposal? Throwing away, getting rid of, discarding. Well, actually, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say so. Because what he's saying, at least as how I'm understanding, is that you should get rid of a fairly large amount of time at once, and it should not be like, okay, I'm going to save this amount there and that amount here and whatnot, so that it is going to add up. Because he says it's not going to be sufficient, even though the total is an impressive number of hours. So I don't know. Because for me, it is really like, okay, if I'm able to save some time here and there, then I'm probably going to do that. Unless, and this is something which is, it's a pretty interesting story, and I've probably talked about it before, but it is just a really good story. And I think it is a story by Derek Sivers, as far as I know. So he went to, I think it's Santa Monica or something. It's just a city, and there is also a beach and whatnot. So he started to ride his bike on a beach. And because he's a very competitive guy, he started to try to be as fast as he possibly can, which turned out to be not such a good idea, because he really stressed himself out, and he really was working hard to get to the end of this. I think he was just riding his bike because of sport reasons, for an hour, and he just wanted to see how far he can get, and or just how fast he can be, which is quite the same thing, but also not. So he just wanted to be as fast as possible. So he really stressed the fuck out of him to get to his destination, to his goal, to his place, or to that place in the least amount of time. But it turned out that when he's not really like trying to be as fast as he possibly can be, if he's just, quote unquote, if he's just not stressing the shit out of him, he's not gonna there's not gonna be a lot of drawbacks. He's not gonna be very slow. He's gonna be a little tiny bit slower, but it's not gonna be very sufficient or significant. It's really not gonna be the case. It's really not going to be significant. And therefore, then he thought like, well, why the fuck should I stress myself out that much just because of a few minutes? And I think this is maybe what he means as well. That, okay, you can actually save some time. You can actually save a few minutes here and 2 minutes there and whatnot. But in the end, it's going to be more stressful to trying to be fast and trying to be more efficient than the outcome then actually is, or compared to the outcome, compared to the results as well. So yeah, maybe this is what he's thinking about. And I'm also going to highlight that because it seems to be pretty amazing. The first step toward executive effectiveness is therefore to record actual time use. Yes. And there's a lot of ways you can do that. Like there's software, just Google for time tracking, whatnot, and then you're probably going to find something. And there's actually some tools, and I've also had one of them. I don't even know if I'm having them still, or if I'm still having them, or this piece of software. But in the end, it was just a piece of software that tracked your time. Like there was a timer, and it was also structured in a way that you can say, okay, this is my working hours and this is my pausing hours. In terms of, first of all, the timer is going to track the amount of work that I'm doing, or it's going to go from 10 to 0 or from 60 to 0, whatever you've just set it to. And then it will count from 5 to 0, which is going to then then be the break time, which is, I think, a pretty cool thing, that you're going to have work and break in a very, very, very structured way. And I think it also makes sense. I think it also makes sense to really know where your time is going. Really believe in that. Systematic time management is therefore the next step. One has to find the non-productive time-wasting activities and get rid of them if one possibly can. This requires asking oneself a number of diagnostic questions. Yes, is this really what I should be doing? Is this really productive? I've yet to see an executive, regardless of rank or station, who could not consign something like a quarter of the demands on his time to the waste paper basket without anybody's noticing their disappearance. Well. Effective executives have learned to ask systematically and without coyness. And I don't know what the fuck coyness means. But it means archness, simpering, flirtatiousness, kittenishness, skittishness. And it basically means, coyness. I see, without coyness. What do I do that wastes your time without contributing to your effectiveness? To ask this question and to ask it without being afraid of the truth is a mark of the effective executive. Not every answer is going to be nice. Not every answer is going to be good, because you probably or maybe come to the conclusion that whatever you've been doing really, really a lot is actually not that necessary. And there's also a few things that I've been talking about in terms of Tim Ferriss and what he recommends for more productivity. I might be linking down this video that I've been recording. You're probably going to find it if you type in Tim Ferriss productivity and my name. You're going to find it. I might be also linking it down in the description, as I said, but I'm probably going to forget about it. So please, please just Google it. It's going to be way more... It's actually going to be more effective than just trying to find the link in the description. I think you're actually going to be faster because the link is probably not going to be there, So what he said is that you should ask yourself whether something that you're doing is making whatever else you're doing easier, or what's been the other question? Like if I'm doing something, is this going to then make the other things that I have to do easier, which is the first question. But there has been another question. Yeah. If this would be the only thing that you would be doing on this day, would you be satisfied? In terms of, would you feel good, even though you've only done this one thing? And then I thought, what about the podcast? I'm recording the podcast. Am I going to be satisfied if I only record a podcast episode and that's then going to be it for the day? Because I don't really think so. But I would actually be then doing the podcast in a different way. Then I would just be doing the podcast in a way that it is then gonna consume the whole fucking day. Because I could. I really could. Then I would actually be just looking at way more. The episode's gonna be 2 hours long instead of 30 minutes. There's a lot of things that I could be doing to make the episodes longer. Which at this point in time is not really my goal. Because, I don't know. I like them to be 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and something in between that. And even though, I'm just gonna upload 2 episodes anyway. But I think it is a better way or a better thing to upload more different things, because the chance is also higher than that some people are then going to enjoy one thing that I'm recording a day. If I'm recording something or if I'm uploading something that's 2 hours long, then, some people might enjoy that, but on the other hand, it should also not be your goal to make something for everybody. Whatever you're making, whether it is a product, service, or whatever, it should really be for a specific group or for a specific type of person or type of people in the real end. Well, anyway, so ask yourself these questions. I think they're actually pretty good questions. I really think so. We usually tend to overrate rather than underrate our importance and to conclude that far too many things can only be done by ourselves. Yes. This is I think something that you should ask yourself when you're really feeling stressed out because of your business. Because of course you can hire somebody. But if you're hiring somebody, what this person is capable of doing might be only a 8 out of 10. But who says that it is not enough? If you are the 10 out of 10, then I think even a 5 out of 10 would be enough. Quite. But you're saving a lot of time, a lot of energy, and yeah. Even very effective executives still do a great many unnecessary, unproductive things. Yes, for example, doing the work of other people, because this is not what you should be doing as a leader. You should be leading. Quite. Something that I've as well just read somewhere. I don't know where it has been. It's probably also been a book, I guess, but I'm not quite sure. My first grade arithmetic primer asked, if it takes 2 ditch diggers 2 days to dig a ditch, how long would it take 4 ditch diggers? In first grade, the correct answer is, of course, 1 day. In the kind of work, however, with which executives are concerned, the right answer is probably 4 days, if not forever. Well, yeah, because not necessarily. Just because you're having more people doesn't necessarily mean that you're also going to be faster. And this is definitely something that I'm seeing with group work. I mean, if there is 4 people and you're trying to make something, whether it is a marketing concept, whether it is just a product, whether it is a design, it's going to take you forever. Because everyone does things in their own style. Everyone has their own style. Everyone has their own ideas. Everyone thinks about different things. Everyone wants to just be a great part of the project and all those things. Like there's then a lot of quote unquote issues then. Of course, it depends on how you think about them, because of course, if you do not think about them as issues, then they're also not going to be issues. But it is complicated. It really is, and it does really not have to be the case that only because you're having more people that you're also going to be faster. Even though I think if you're really having a good system, then it could work. If the system is like, okay, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Let's think about assembly lines. But this is definitely not what he's thinking about, because he is thinking and also talking about knowledge work. But of course, if you're just dealing with assembly line shit, then having more workers is going to be amazing, because they all have to do one simple thing. And if somebody is just ill or whatnot, you can just easily replace them, which is kind of the concept of assembly lines. People don't have to do really a lot of complicated shit, most of them, and therefore everybody can do that. Actually makes sense, but I don't know. Wouldn't make me that happy to be doing something like that. Another common time waster is Mel Organization. Its symptom is an excess of meetings. Oh my god. Mel Organization. Unfortunately, can't find anything. Therefore, I'm going to Google it since we're actually having quite some time left. I'm going to do this. But this is something that a lot of executives are talking about. Men are formed to be what they are. Vice and crime are the fruits of malorganization, and malorganization is the result of the unfavorable conditions in which the subject of it has been placed. I don't fucking know what this means. Let's actually look it up. It's even not recognized by my PC. Like if I'm just pressing really tough or really hard into my touchpad, then I'm getting just translation and information and whatnot, which I'm most often using for translating things into German so that I also understand them. But it means imperfect or wrong organization. What did he say? He said, another common time waster is malorganization. Well, yeah, but I think, or what I've been initially willing to talk about is a lot of executives truly talk about meetings being, or longer meetings being, really unnecessary. And I think this is also something that I'm seeing. Just because of my diploma, I've been working with my colleague and also with a teacher. A teacher that is just basically a supervisor, and he's just having a look at all the things that we're doing and whatnot, like a lot of different things. And in the end, we have always been having just really short meetings. I don't know, maybe half an hour, which is actually really a lot. And, sometimes it's also been an hour, but it's not been really productive. Most often it's okay, I'm going to tell you my shit and then you give me your opinion and then that's quite it. And this is done in 10 minutes. It's not a thing that you have to do for 30 minutes, for an hour 30. Really not. 10 minutes are most often enough for just covering the basic shit that you're thinking about. Of course, there might be some details or there might be some nuances that are really, truly important, and you should also truly be thinking and also talking about them. But I mean, if every one of the two people are having the right questions in great structure, in terms of okay, you're not gonna talk about a fucking poem, you're not gonna have a whole story to talk about, but it is one question, and then the supervisor answers your question, and then that's quite it. And if somebody of them has to think, then okay, there's going to be a next meeting tomorrow, also 10 minutes long, and whatnot. I don't know, I truly understand that. Or I at least think, I don't know, I think that I'm understanding that, because it really seems to be quite of a waste of time, you know? And I've also seen that. As I said, I mean, 10 minutes is sometimes and most often quite enough. And we don't need more. But yeah, I think this is going to be the end of the episode here and there. So I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success, and also hope that you're going to remind yourself and you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy. It basically means just being a good person and a nice person and being remembered as a good person. On the other hand, three other questions are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? These questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, which is great, which is amazing, which is cool. But yeah, gonna see you the next time, I at least hope. So bye-bye, and thank you. Thank you really, 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 really a lot.